Hey, welcome back to part 2 of checking out the comparison between this DF54 and the DF64 Gen 2. So I've used the DF64 Gen 2 quite a bit. I'm really familiar with it, and we've been playing with this DF54. So the other day we did a comparison just in espresso, just checked out the clarity and the flavors that it brought out. Is there really that big of a difference between the two, and maybe which one might be best for your needs? So a lot of people, you might not have an espresso machine, and maybe you're looking for this grinder for like just pour over needs. So we're going to do a comparison today. We have a V60 in front of us. We're going to do it one at a time. I have some Ugandan beans that I've roasted. They're a honey process, so they're fairly complex. They're not like real fruity by any means, but they're very floral and give a lot of the complexities. They're going to be a little bit more difficult to pull out of certain grinders, especially like a conical. I will let you know that both of these have stock stainless steel burrs. So these are pretty much just OEM burrs in the grinder. There's no aftermarket like SSP. I mentioned in my other video that the DF54, at least for now, we're not planning to offer any sort of like a DLC upgrade or an SSP upgrade. Potentially in the future, SSP will offer something like that, but for now, the stainless steel burrs are really all that we're going to provide in this grinder. I will let you know, just like a spoiler, these burrs have been absolutely fantastic for 54. I've used stuff like the Specialita and some others that are similar size, and I really feel like this just packs quite the punch for what the grinder is. So let's get going. I'm going to set up. We're going to start with the DF54. I have 18 grams of this Uganda pre-weighed out in front of us, and we're going to do a V60 in one cup, and then we'll do a V60 in the other cup, and we'll just do a quick side-by-side comparison. We'll look at our flavor wheel to see if there's anything that really just stands out as maybe a little bit better or similar. So let's get going. Okay, so we're pretty well set up. We have 18 grams pre-weighed out for each of these. So I am going to just dump them in real quick. We're on setting about 63 on both of these. I did mess with dialing them in before this video, and they had the more or less the same drawdown time. Let's grind to the 54. So you can see it's quite a bit faster, pretty clean, had like a little bit of chaff on the front. These are quite chaffy beans. They are a honey process. When I use the bellow, really not much comes out, so that's a good sign that our Ion Gen is working really well. Nice fluffy grounds in there, similar to our espresso test. We're going to, well, let's first start. We're going to use the Chicago mug for our 54. So we have our water preheated off the side. I'm just going to do a quick filter rinse, if that's something that you like to do. Doesn't take very long. We'll dump this water out and prepare our V60. We're going to do 18 grams in and 300 out, give or take. I like to also just kind of make it so that the bed is as flat as possible before we start. Okay, so the drawdown on this coffee is a bit long, and you can see on the top, it's kind of like a nice little thin layer of fines. But remember, these are espresso burrs. And I do have both of these pretty much dialed in the same when I made some cups of coffee this morning. Let's just get going on the DF64 Gen 2. DF64 Gen 2 is very fast at grinding, especially on a more coarse setting. Let's rinse out this paper filter real quick and continue with our Gen 2 test. Okay. So this is our DF64 Gen 2. Had pretty much the same drawdown time, a little bit slow. Okay, so now let's do our taste test. And remember, these are technically espresso burrs. They're not really specifically designed for a pour over. You will get that thin film of fines on the top. But to begin with, we have our Chicago mug. and this was done with the DF54. Let's give it a quick taste test. This Ugandan just makes a fantastic cup of coffee. So really the thing that stands out to me the most, you get just kind of like your classic coffee flavors, like baker's chocolate, but I'm also getting that nice honeysuckle and hibiscus undertone, which is really unique and nice to this coffee. So you're not getting those really fruity, like cherry flavors. It's more of a floral flavor in this coffee. Let's try the DF64 Gen 2. Okay, so I'm getting pretty much similar tasting notes between both of these. A little bit of undertone of like maybe some really dark, like the black grapes. And then really that hibiscus honeysuckle floral flavor out of both of these. Talking just a little bit, comparing these two. So comparing these side by side, I mean, again, similar to the espresso, they're going to be fairly similar just for a stock stainless steel espresso brewer. Brewing V60 even. So let's go one more time. So comparing these two side by side, I'd feel this one's maybe the DF64 Gen 2 is maybe just a little bit more clean. A little more crisp, kind of has that dryness to the coffee. So you're getting that clean undertone that you might get out of more of a specific burr for brewing coffee versus an espresso burr. So it's a little bit cleaner just comparing the two. And this one is more, it's just a hair more difficult to discern the separation of flavors, if that makes sense to you. So both of these are fantastic cups of coffee. I really feel like if you put them side by side, I don't want to say that don't get the Gen 2, but if you're just looking for something really simple to get going, I've been really impressed with this DF54. I've been really surprised with the burrs, the stock burrs. I've seen people say, well, can I put this burr, can I put that burr into this grinder? And I really don't even think that's necessary because these burrs are just fantastic out of the box. Let's do one more. So as it begins to cool. It'd be really hard for me to say which one is better. I'd probably pick the Gen 2. If it was a blind taste test, I'd say it'd be a lot more difficult to really say which one was better or which one was worse. This one, I feel like this has, I say this is very minimally. It's just like that hair of astringency you're going to get from maybe some additional fines. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I hope this helps you make a decision if you're thinking about the DF54 or the DF64 Gen 2. Really, if you're going with the DF64 Gen 2, you do have the burr upgrade option. So if you're wanting to do something like a cast burr for brew, a lot of people, they really enjoy the cast burrs. The SSP makes some really good just lab sweet burrs for the 64 millimeter. I really prefer the cast burrs in 83 though. So if you're looking to do espresso, I really don't recommend the cast burrs in 64. You might like something like a multi-purpose or the MP burr. But what I do tell people with the MP burr is it's really not a one and done burr if you're using it for espresso. It's almost too clean and it doesn't work particularly well with all coffees. It does tend to bring out some of the bean flaws, if that makes sense. So if you're looking for more basic, just something fantastic for your kitchen counter, this DF54 is going to do just really well for you. If you're looking to maybe do something a little bit next level, maybe a secondary grinder with some specialty burrs, I would still go DF64 Gen 2. Package deal. They're really similar in design, other than this one's quite a bit smaller and it has smaller burrs and a smaller motor. But they both have the ion generator. They both look fantastic. They have the polished adjustment collars at the top. This does have the plastic dosing cup, which I really kind of prefer. Where this one has the metal. So if you want the metal, you can purchase that second market. They do have different lids. So this has more of like a white walnut, I think, or not walnut, maple lid, and this is a walnut lid. So there's really no walnut option for the smaller grinder lid at this time. But those are really the main differences between these two. If you have any questions, for sure, leave some comments below. If you have any questions that are like not related to these grinders, you can also reach out to the Espresso Outlet email. So that's it for today. Please like and subscribe to this video, and hopefully this answers your questions if you're looking to purchase one of these two grinders. Have a good one.